Hey church, welcome to the Daily Dose. I'm Gina from the Vista campus, kindergarten through 5th grades. And as I was preparing for this, I was brought back to growing up in Los Angeles in the 1980s, when it was a great time to be a fan of their professional baseball and basketball teams, the Dodgers and the Lakers. Because between the two teams in that decade, the city had 7 national championships. And with each championship came a victory parade. And that's when people would spill out onto the streets of downtown and cheer the team on as they rode by. It was a time of great unity and pride and excitement. And this is the setting for our hidden gem today. It's found in 2 Samuel chapter 6. But instead of sports fans celebrating their team's national championship, it's the Israelites celebrating the Ark of the Covenant. This is where the 10 Commandments tablets were kept, and it also represented to the Israelites the very presence of their God. So it was a huge deal that the Ark was being transported to their capital city of Jerusalem under the leadership of King David. And our hidden gem is found in verse 14, and it reads like this: David, wearing a linen ephod, danced before the Lord with all his might. And when I read that, I thought, man, that must have been some dance. I just pictured David dancing with reckless abandon, just like nobody was watching. And I thought, what would make me dance like that? Maybe a World Series win for the Dodgers last year? No, probably not, because that wouldn't last. David's joy flowed from a lasting relationship with an eternal God that was close and personal. I want some of that kind of joy, don't you? So if you read on, you'll notice that David isn't acting very king-like. He's not waving from a chariot or wearing a royal crown. No, he shed everything about his position, literally and figuratively, that would hinder him from what the Bible describes in verse 16 as dancing and leaping before the Lord. He was not restricted by his title, his position, expectations, what other people thought. In fact, in verse 20, when his wife chastises him for causing such a scene, David proudly describes his actions as undignified. He simply was not the least bit embarrassed because his expression of joy was done solely for the Lord, no one else. Because David had a keen awareness that his kingship was God's doing and not his own. And so that, I think, moved him to a place of deep humility and gratitude and intense joy before God. So church, I want to ask you, how fully are you experiencing joy from God's presence in your life? Is there anything hindering you? What's restricting you? Is it the busyness of life? Is it your responsibilities? Is it your circumstances or fear of what other people might think? For me, one of the many hindrances in my life was my need to be in control. Now, I am admittedly a chronic planner, and while there is nothing wrong with having plans, there is when you respond like I did, and sometimes even still do, with frustration and sometimes even anger when things don't go as I planned. And that caused some serious damage to relationships in my life with family and friends and with God. So I asked God to take that need to be in control and to replace it with a desire and willingness to be dependent and surrender to His control. And while it's definitely been a process, I'm able to experience more and more joy because of it. So church, I want to leave you with this challenge. Identify those hindrances in your life, those restrictions that are keeping you from experiencing the fullness of joy in your life from God's presence. Ask God to show them to you. Pray that He would help you face them and change them and overcome them, and maybe even like David, shed them all together and dance like nobody's watching. Have a great day.